Striking Scorpion 82 is now sponsored by Knighthood. Battle epic friends and foes in a living fantasy RPG world full of mysterious monsters and mighty enemies as you strive to become the land's most feared and famous knighthood. Win rare treasure in hunts and quests to improve your gear and up your game. Collect ancient heroes to fight by your side and summon their abilities in times of need. Fully customise your member of the knighthood, join a guild, fight epic battles and win glory in the PvP arena. Free to download and play, link in the video description below, and when you download the game it helps support the channel. Thanks and enjoy the game. Right, welcome to another Battlefield terrain tutorial. So in this episode we've got a nice lava landscape here with some strange ruins here. Don't always have to go for city fight for Warhammer 40,000. There's a variety, a vast array of different worlds that you can try and recreate here for games of Warhammer 40,000. This one, very atmospheric, sort of lava, ash, wasteland kind of terrain piece here, adding in some structures just for line of sight blocking terrain. And so on. But as per usual with this series, we'll run through step by step how you can build up this terrain. Very straightforward. So this one, it's a combination of two sets here, plus a battle mat as well. So as per usual, links will be in the video description below, so you know exactly which items to get a hold of. And I'll guide you through step by step. So I'll lay the foundation first of all, talk about the different terrain options, and then even down to the stones and accessories and so on. There's no reason why if you follow along step by step, you can't recreate the exact table that you see here. So first step is your foundation, as always here, just to give you a sort of color chart to use and then try and match the rest of the terrain in with it. So we're using a battle mat here from gamemat.eu. This one's 6x4 in size. For our games of 40k playing 60 inches across, I've just laid an upside down mat across that boundary there up to 60 inches, and that works out just nicely for us. They do this mat in the newer size 60 inches by 44. It is available in that size. It's called Hell on Earth, and it's by gamemat.eu. I'll put a link for that in the video description below. So it's like a lava wasteland, but there are plenty of grey tones going on with this one as well. So you've got your lava here. I can zoom right in so you can see the detail on this battle mat. So you've got lava areas, but also plenty of greys going on. There is a tiny bit of green, but not noticeable enough to spoil this grey ash wasteland kind of theme. But it's just stones and pebbles running through this and the cracked sort of lava surface. Battle mats roll out dead flat here, nice and flat, which is a great advantage with them. Nice and soft for dice rolling, nice and quiet on the dice, and then figure friendly as if models fall over or drop down. It's a softer landing for them. So I'd say one of the most awkward things about setting up a table is your surface that you're playing on. The battle mats just roll out nice and flat, immediately gives you all the colours that you're going to start from, so very useful indeed. So link for that in the video description below. Roll that out nice and flat, and then it's a case of building up the main terrain features. So the first one is this set here. It's Lava Rocks. It's the new set from gamemat.eu. They've done 4 different colour schemes, but using the lava set here for this terrain setup. So using one set, which includes this large one here, 2 sort of low platforms, low arches, 2 larger arches, that one, and there's one across the other side, 2 medium-sized rocky outcrops, and there's another larger piece across here. Now for this set, usually I adapt the colour scheme a little bit, just tweak it a little bit to match in with the map, but for this particular setup here, I haven't added anything to these. This is how they come painted in the box. So I've made no changes to them whatsoever, and they seem to blend in just fine. It's an interesting paint job they've done on these. It's sort of darker at the bottom and this glowing lava hot rocks kind of effect on top, but it works well enough. It really adds to the atmosphere of this board. So one set of lava rocks here from gamemat.eu, and that fills out the table quite nicely. So then your options are, you could go for a second set, but walls are great for nice solid line of sight blocking terrain, especially for games of 40k, lots of firepower and so on. So it makes it fair for players as areas for them to hide. So using a second terrain set here, it's the block walls from gamemat.eu. So this set is called Hive Walls. It comes in sections, and this is one set being used to cover this entire board. So 2 sets will fill out this table really nice. There's plenty of terrain here. So they come in sections. This is a ruined section here. Get a good number of those. Now you can combine them together on the different levels. So you've got a single block section like that. You've got a load of doubles like this, just to really build it up. And that's the details on it, like so. Now I have modified these to do a paint job, so we'll talk about that in just a moment. They also come with single doors, double doors, which I've stacked to make one big door, but there's a double door set there. And then also these columns as well, and you can work, they're all single, so you can work them individually. For line of sight blocking terrain and so on, I've just double stacked them here to raise them up so that units, tanks and so on can hide nicely behind them. But you can go for a lower level, in which case if it was just a single level of these, you've got to fill out a lot more of the table. You can play corridor, Space Hulk type games with them, but also you can incorporate them into your regular games of Warhammer 40,000. So the paint job on these is very, very quick. So they come painted with this grey here, and the silver work's already been done for you. Then take a medium grey spray, something like Uniform Grey from Army Painter, give it a quick dusting. It just tones down the silver, tones down the highlighting on them. And then taking a rust kind of colour here and just putting that onto the metalwork, blotching it on and then running it down. It's sort of a medium-sized brush and just working quick enough just to patch that in. And that just weathers that thing up nicely for you. It's great for city fight trains. There's also grey tones, grey and rust tones going on here. It fits in nice with this map because of the grey tones going on here. But also for any city fight type games, you can use that set as well. So as a quick modification, it just adds to the realism of this thing. I want it to make it look like an ancient world where the lava started bubbling up and perhaps the civilians have had to evacuate from this planet and it's just this ruined ash wasteland that's left behind. But that mat and 2 sets that fill out this board for you and give you the terrain that you see on the table. So then, which I rate as very important indeed, is to blend the terrain into the mat so that it all runs in harmoniously together. So a few little touches you can do. First is adding some lichen. So that was originally green, and then I stained it with black ink. That was years ago, and it's lasted really well. So you can do that, or you may well be able to find some blackened lichen. eBay's a good place to look, model shops and so on. Just to add in a little bit of vegetation, but it's all blackened and darkened by the lava environment. Then you'll see stones and scatter. So these stones are what I sifted out of my basing kit, just from sand, sifting out the sand and then keeping the stones. But if you go for a natural resource, they'll come out nice and natural looking, not too sifted and refined. You want it to look natural. And then taking those and spraying them with Stealth Montana Gold Spray. 7070 is the code. You can look that up. I'll put a link for it in the video description below. But it's Montana Gold is the spray range on that. But it's like a dark medium grey. And then putting the stones into a tray, spraying them up, and then after that adding like a brown wash, or you can use a brown spray like Leather Brown from Army Painter. Just dash that across just to add a bit of rust, a bit of brown into those stones. Once those stones are sprayed up, I use them for all the city fight boards that we do, but also because of the grey tones going on here, it just blends this terrain in just nicely. So stones just dotted about, a bit of lichen, and it just blends the board in nicely for you. Spare bits from my terrain making, just paint them up, just randomly drop them in. Spare accessories from vehicles and so on, spray them up silver, put washes over them, drop them in. To the board, you should see abandoned weapons on the table from kits. So there's a las gun, again sprayed grey, silver parts painted, and then just washes over the top, and then just drop those in. Just abandoned weapons, just a real nice touch to add in to your games of Warhammer 40,000. So using just little accessories, ammunition, containers and so on, just stacked in there. There's some more over there. That's the 40k set. These electric fence type things running across here are actually from the old Black Reach set from years ago. James painted them up, they look quite cool there on top of the board. You can add in little accessories like things that you pick up just to add some touches just to bring some life and realism to this battlefield. It's a strange one, this one, but a very atmospheric board to fight games of 40k across. So I think quite straightforward, this one, but very high impact, very, very strong theme running this one here. The lava rocks fit in just nice, real contrast to the buildings. Imagine this was a civilization once upon a time. The planet's destabilized, lava starting to break through on the surface, rocks starting to push up through, perhaps a civilization left here a long, long time ago. But then onto this abandoned planet come raiding and looting factions and so on. So a great landscape for fighting across for games of 40k. And plenty of line of sight blocking terrain, which is crucial for games. You don't want to go too sparse on terrain. You do need to build it up to make it fair for both sides. Plenty of areas to hide and so on. It's a major part of the game and good fun when you're trying to use cover to your advantage and ambush units and so on. So that's the video. Links for all I talked about in the video description below. Feel free to copy this board as much as you want, but if you follow the tips along and the guidance, there's no reason why you can't replicate this board for your own games of Warhammer 40,000. But as per usual, I'll close this out with some atmospheric music for this lava ash wasteland terrain. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time.